My friends, welcome back. My name is Silver Slayer. I post silver videos every single day of the week, so make sure you subscribe and definitely click the bell since you will immediately get notified anything important happens, since silver is affected by everything geopolitically, politically, economically, fundamentally. I have to cover it all, so it's your one-stop shop. A couple months ago, or about a month ago, I made a video talking about the US military raiding silver stockpiles. Very controversial video, has 67,000 views, posted 1 month ago. You can see the title of this one, US silver stockpile raided by Defense Department, future energy needs depend on US silver development, which is definitely true. US is 79% import reliant on silver. Why is that? Because when they were producing 30, 40 million Eagles annually, they could not keep up. It was actually more cost effective to outsource from places like Sunshine Mint, and they kind of shot themselves in the foot. That's a whole separate video I've done a lot of research into. I've covered. I know the ins and outs of it. I know the congressional complaint. I know the statutory requirements they were in violation of. That is not the point. The point is, some people were saying that this is all BS. Well, here's the thing. It takes 500 ounces to use one Tomahawk missile. Imagine a monster box being thrown at the ground, exploding, because a monster box is 500 ounces. But anyways, there's an updated article from FX Street titled, "Why Was the U.S. Silver Stockpile Raided by DOD?" Well, we're going to jump into this. And if you want the original backstory, then check out my previous video. This also gives a backstory, but it's basically just saying we need a lot of silver for military usage that a lot of people don't really think about, which is true. Like they say, you know, if you read some precious metals experts, they usually say it's, the spiel goes, jewelry, electronics, medical, solar, electric vehicles, green energy storage systems, you know, batteries, which is true because silver is used for all of those things. But then he goes into, he says, very good, Captain Obvious, but then the military and aerospace usages gobbles up just as much as a third of all silver used by industry. And that's definitely true as well. Someone like Elon Musk, SpaceX, Solar City, Tesla. So all three of those, so someone like Elon Musk, it makes a lot of sense he bought a silver mine. Regardless, that's a whole separate video again. That's why you need to subscribe, because I make lots of different diverse content. But it would make sense why the U.S. military would need to. The U.S. Mint is already experiencing massive silver shortages. You want proof? Well, in 2020, they literally ran out of silver and had to make a 1 million mintage supply from the San Francisco Mint at the end of the year. Then in 2021, they came out publicly and said this, as well as a couple other mints. In 2022, they had to cancel the Morgan and Silver Peace dollars because they said they needed to focus on supply for Eagles. It got worse. 2023, they had to ban everyone from buying directly from them. Only third parties can sell, except for a few authorized dealers like Miles Franklin, which I'll explain in a second. Miles Franklin's one of the dealers that can. But not only that, there was a congressional complaint issued against the U.S. Mint. They had to go up against Congress, and they were saying, why in the world can't you fill the demand like these other countries? And it's because they have legal issues in place that other countries don't have. Treasury can only pay spot price, buying from places like Sunshine Mint, where other mints can pay above spot price. So why in the world would Sunshine Mint want to sell to the U.S. Mint if they could only sell for spot price? Imagine selling all your silver, but you had to sell it at spot price, where someone else is willing to pay a higher price. Of course, you're going to go to the person that pays a higher price. That's why the U.S. Mint's having such a hard time finding silver, because that is a law they have in place that no other country does. That's everything in a nutshell. Well, not everything, but that's the meat and potatoes of why we have this issue. And because they don't in-source their silver, they outsourced it, because back, several years ago, it was 30, 40 million ounces annually. So they said, hey, let's just get it outsourced so it's easier. We don't have to keep up with this type of production. Well, nowadays, it's already too late. So regardless, that's a whole separate situation. It's not getting better or fixed anytime soon. That the U.S. is already facing. That's a whole separate video. I just need to give you guys some context on this. It makes a little more sense when we cover stuff like this. Silver's been used for thousands of years. It's ornaments, utensils, trade, basis of monetary systems. All metals, pure silver has the whitest color, highest optical reflectivity, also thermal electrical conductivity, right? Whenever you read some press, we already went into that. I don't like how he said very good Captain Obvious. I mean, because you have to tell people what it's used for. Like how he says the medical uses. Yeah, a lot of people don't know about colloidal silver. A lot of people don't know that silver has antimicrobial properties that can purify water. A lot of people don't know that stuff, so you have to tell them. It's not Captain Obvious to a lot of people, that especially that are newer into silver. So now he goes into 5 government agencies suppressed the silver usage data. Why? Well, you could probably assume why, just given how many things are needed for silver at critical levels. I mean, we're talking about detrimental levels, if not succeeded the demand in those areas. In fact, U.S. government, Department of Defense, Department of Energy, Department of Interior, U.S. Geological Survey collectively gaslit U.S. villagers and stopped reporting on silver inventory starting around 1995, 1996. And what I just said about the detrimental consequences of this, just think about this. U.S. military needs silver for war. If it takes 500 ounces of silver in a single Tomahawk missile, but they don't have 500 ounces to make that Tomahawk missile, think about that. If you're talking about satellites, tanks, missiles, bullets, torpedoes, submarines, rockets, nukes. So if they don't have enough silver for that, what does that mean? We could lose the war, or we don't have the upper hand. Look at this. We need silver to go green. Silver is used for solar panels. It's used for EVs. We're trying to go green to save the planet from global warming or climate change. You see why silver's important role could be so detrimental if that demand is not met? That's why you could see how things might not, or the data might not be as accurate, because everyone wants a slice of the silver pie. And just honestly, there's not that much pie to go around. So for most of the 20th century, the United States Bureau of Mines was the primary United States government agency conducting scientific research and disseminating information on the extraction, processing, use, and conservation of mineral resources. The Bureau was abolished in 1996. Coincidentally, at the same time, the Department of Defense started pretending silver was not important to them. And there you go. Price is the greatest tool of misdirection. Let's further examine and start documenting massive uses of silver that are not on the historical record. Silver is probably the most critical and strategic mineral. That's what I was just saying, yet it's somehow not considered critical by U.S., even though, as the Department of Energy has classified other metals critical. That's so funny, right? They'll say something that has nowhere near as many uses. Why is gold 80 times more valuable than silver when silver has 80,000 times more uses than gold does? Gold is used for jewelry, is used for watches and earrings and necklaces. Some gold is used in electronics, but mostly it's used for that or stored in vaults. Gold is a monetary metal. It kind of just sits around and holds value. Silver has real world uses. Let's further examine and start documenting massive uses of silver that are not on historical record. So, we already went into all these bombs, shells, satellites, tanks, missiles, bullets, torpedoes, rockets. Like I said, just think every time a torpedo, a Tomahawk missile, probably torpedo too, 500 ounces. Think of a monster box. Just drop, just poof, out of thin air, gone. That silver's never going to be recycled. Just gone. And just one. The United States is 79% import reliant for silver. Import reliant. We rely. We are at the mercy. And then check this out. Mexico and Peru. Those two countries alone make up nearly half of silver production annually. And they got hit hard from COVID. Hard. Plus boundaries crossing, right? Very minimal workers for safety precautions. So you can see how COVID messed up the supply chain. So from 2017 to 2020, Mexico provided 47%, followed by 23% Canada, 4% Chile, 4% Poland. Remaining 22%, we consume Russia as a heavy importer. 2023, final critical materials list published by DOE determined following are critical materials for energy: aluminum, cobalt, copper. And a lot of people think that copper could replace silver. Here's the thing. Silver is the most highly conductive metal for thermal conductivity, electricity, and light sensitivity. Copper is a close second in terms of electrical conductivity, but the quality is so much worse, it's not even worth it. It would actually be more costly to try to replace it. It is not worth it. So it's not going to be replaced. Scientists are trying to find ways to replace it, but in my opinion, the only realistic solution is to cut back the amount of silver used in these things. Like, I think it's like 52 grams or whatever in a EV, and they're trying to cut it down to like 20 something. Or in solar panels as well. Solar panels, very short half-life. Very, very short half-life, thrown away in a landfill, never to be recycled. You could use recycling, mining innovation, but there's only so much silver in the Earth's crust. You could also, what else could you do? Take it from us. You could try to recycle it. I don't even think that would put a dent in the situation, plus silver's a byproduct. So maybe if they had more focal silver mines, except for just a few, even though the silver mines they try to make get protested and shut down, like the latest one in Canada. So anyways, you can see how there's a big problem here. Secretary of Interior, acting through the director of U.S. Geological Survey, or the USGS, published a 2022 final list of critical minerals, including the following 50. I bet silver's not on this list. That is nuts. That is crazy. Look at all these. But to say silver, the most important, isn't on there. Why? 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 We know why. Silver is critical for nuclear power generation too. August 29th, 1942, Secretary of War Henry Stimson formally requested silver from Secretary of the Treasury Henry Margotho Jr. The silver was processed into silver wire and transformed into large coils, which played a crucial role in the uranium enrichment process. These strips were transported from New Jersey to Wisconsin by rail, typically in shipments consisting 6 sealed rail cars, each shipment containing around 300 coils. To ensure their security, the coils were continuously guarded with 3 armed guards, accompanying them in a dedicated caboose on each journey. At the Alice Chalmers Manufacturing Company, coils were unwound and interconnected using silver solder to create larger reels. These reels were then fed into a specialized machine, which wound them around the steel bobbins of the magnet casings. Between 1943 and 1944, these magnets were wound, and each containing approximately 14 tons, and some amounted well over 400 million ounces of silver, while the annual production's around 850 just for magnets, just for this. Think about that. Following this, during global nuclear arms race, nations conducted a total of 2,088 atomic detonations, and that's a conservative estimate, around 1,000 ounces of silver per blast. This is 2 million ounces of silver vaporized during nuclear tests alone, just tests. That doesn't not account for the current stockpiles of nuclear warheads in the world's various military arsenals, including those stored in silos, submarines, buried in mountains, incorporated missiles. Each Tomahawk, oh, there he goes, he mentions it as well, has 500 ounces, for example, bombshells, satellite submarines, yada, yada. So you can see why. You can see why. You can see why this video, that people were so skeptical about, saying that this didn't happen. You can see why it did happen. I can't say 100% because I am not in the U.S. military. I did not personally raid the stockpiles myself, but I can definitely see and make a very compelling argument that it did happen, and here's another compelling argument that it did happen as well. And you can see why. And this even shows my case for the silver shortage being extremely dangerous, not only for trying to go green, whether you believe in climate change and all that, you could see why that could be dangerous for that, and also why silver, it has so much potential to explode in value. Low supply, high demand pushes the price up. Low supply, high demand pushes the price up. If the military is raiding silver stockpiles, then what do you think is going to happen when all the silver is gone and they can't raid the U.S. stockpiles because there's none left and they have to come after ours? We could set the price. Producers turn into consumers. Consumers turn into producers. The people like you and I that want this silver can be selling it to the people that need the silver. And since they don't have it, we could set the price. And I bet you they're willing to pay because of how important and how silver is not interchangeable for copper or anything else. It can't be replaced. So this is, you could see why. This stuff is real. The silver shortage is real. I've been saying that for years. People called me crazy, even though I do hours of research a day. I have been for years. And just because I may be 31 years old doesn't mean that I'm not an expert and that I don't research this stuff. It's literally my job to do so. So I can confidently say I know what I'm talking about. I'm never going to say I know for sure that something happened if I don't know for sure. I could say it's highly likely, there's a very high probability, and then given the evidence and information, we could determine or make our opinions off of that. But at the end of the day, even if this didn't happen, that's everything here is still a fact. They still used 400 million ounces, nearly half of the entire production in 1 year, just for magnets. 940 magnets were wound, each containing approximately 14 tons. That's a fact, regardless if they raided the stockpiles or not. A lot of people like to just look at things in sections and don't look at the bigger picture. Regardless, though, own silver, highly recommend it. Folks, I also have some deals if you guys wanted to purchase this shiny stuff. buy.slayer@gmail.com if you want to purchase silver, gold, or platinum. I have silver, gold, and platinum deals right now. I have a Slayer Cyber Week deal where only you watching this video, my audience, can get 100 Eagles for only $4.99 over spot. 100-ounce minimum. You can get more than that as well. I remember when I was buying Eagles for $45, and now they're $31 if you use this deal. And I have platinum and gold deals as well. I think it's a 10th-ounce gold Eagles for $32 over melt. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And I have a 10-ounce bar deal, and I have a 5-ounce silver bar and 5-ounce silver bar deal and 10-ounce silver bar deal as well. You don't want to miss this stuff, folks. Remember, buy.slayer@gmail.com. You can talk to me on the phone, email me, whatever you're comfortable with doing, and I will get you set straight. I promise I'll do my best to make sure you guys are taken care of. Think about how important you guys are to me on this level. So if you're willing to purchase through me and you're not just some random customer I don't know, I know that my customers are my actual supporters and fans. Just think about how much more serious and personal I'm willing to take these orders, right? I will make sure 100% that you will get you will be 100% satisfied. And if anything were to go wrong, God forbid, you know that I would make it right instantly. And you'll have my phone number so you can call me up. Think about that. If you buy from somewhere online, you can't just call the actual person up or text them and say, hey, blah, blah, and I'll respond right away. It's like buying from your friend compared to some random person online. You don't even know who's behind the screen filling that order. So, yeah. Anyways, I love you all. Go check out this other video I made if you want a little more of the context. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Go check out my recent videos. I've been making some really good videos, some very good stuff. And I know you guys are enjoying them as well. So anyways, yeah, I'm going to wrap this video up here. Thank you so much for tuning in. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.